So we're going to talk through the acoustic part for My Hope is Built. And in your guitar notes, it's just labeled acoustic. It's not assigned a guitar number or anything. This part is really simple. It's mostly chords that you know, but then some of these chords have kind of like color tones that are thrown in. So I'll walk you through just the voicings of all the chords, just in case you're not familiar with some of the color tones, but these are all written out on your guitar note sheet. So A, I'm sure that you already know. First position, just 2, 2, 2. Just like that. A, when you see an A over C sharp, you don't have to play the C sharp. You can just play a straight up A, because every time that comes around for you, the bass will be in and the bass will be covering that C sharp. But if you want to cover that C sharp, you can either use your first through third fingers for the A and reach with your pinky for that C sharp there in the bass. Or if that's a tough reach for you, you can also kind of bar there on the second string and hit that C sharp, and then just make sure that you don't either play an A with your pinky finger or just don't hit the E. Just like that. Or, like I said, you can just play the A, play an old normal vanilla A, and trust the bass to kind of grab that C sharp. It'll work either way. And then an A sus is just like an A, except you move this finger up to the third fret. You hear that? Nice color tone in there. So make sure when the A sus is written in the chord sheet that you're definitely playing an A sus. Because if some of the band is playing this and some of the band is playing this, it's really going to lose its effect and it's going to sound really gross. So B minor 7 is just like B minor, except you want to take your fourth finger off. Getting a nice little color note in there. Your D chord, you know how to play a regular little D. A D sus, you're just adding your fourth finger onto the third fret there. Like that. And then there are some times on the chord chart where there's a D over F sharp. Again, every time that comes around for you, the bass is going to be covering that low bass note, so you don't have to feel like you have to cover that. But if you want to, you can. The way that I do it, and this is probably not great technique, but it's fine, works out just fine. I wrap my thumb around and finger the F sharp with my thumb. So you have a nice low F sharp in there. And then as soon as the chord is done, I bring it back here, where it's supposed to be, right there. I try to anyway. And then E minor, you know, a regular old E minor. E minor 9, you'll just add on the E string, the second fret. And an E minor 7, which I'm sure you already know, you'll just add your pinky there on the third fret on the B string. Like that. Again, just little color notes. For those in particular, if you just play an E minor, it'll work fine. And then G, when G comes around, sometimes you're playing a G2, which you will play, well, I play like this. So third and second, and then I hit the G down here with my pinky on the third fret, and then I use my first finger to play an A. So it's a G2. And then a G major 7, I use my fourth finger to play that D there on the B string, and my first finger to play the 2, the F sharp on the E string. Which, that's a very fun chord to play. Cool. And that's all the chords that you'll be playing. So before I cue up the music, there's two things that I kind of want to highlight for you, and these are written on your guitar notes, but the first is when you first come in after that first chorus. You'll be out until after the first chorus, and when you come in on that turn, you'll actually be finger picking. If that's not something you've ever done, you can do really light strumming and still get kind of a similar effect. But it sounds cooler if you can do finger picking, and it's a fun new skill to practice if you're not familiar with it. really have a set plucking pattern with my right hand. Instead, I'm just kind of doing what seems like it fits in the moment. One thing I am doing is just kind of keeping a pulse, a steady pulse with my thumb. So. So that's what I'm playing with my thumb, and then my other fingers are just kind of filling in between. Kind of like that. Like I said, there's no set pattern, so you can do whatever feels comfortable for you. That's kind of just where I naturally fall, is keeping that steady pulse and then alternating with other fingers in between. So do whatever seems right, and if you've never done any finger picking and you really just cannot get it up to speed for full band practice, you can do some light strumming there. But I would work towards finger picking, number one, because it's cooler, it creates a nice build and energy throughout the song, and also just because it's a fun new skill to learn. And then I said there's a second thing I want to point out, and that is in verse 3. It's kind of a breakdown of sorts. This song keeps going down to it has these big drops in energy, and every single time there's different instruments that are kind of carrying the song at this point. So verse 3, it sounds almost like finger picking on the recording, but I'm actually pretty convinced that it's strumming and they're just really focusing on the high notes. So. Into the chorus. Something kind of like that. You might even want to pull it back just a little bit more. You'll feel that out in full band, just the right energy level, because at that point, really, you're the one carrying it. So if you feel everyone else in the band, you hear everybody else kind of drop out, and it's just you, don't be discouraged or intimidated or whatever. It's supposed to be that way. It is going to be just you in verse 3, not just you. There's all going to be pads and probably some piano or something, but it's going to be pretty sparse texture, and you're really going to be the one creating the driving motion in verse 3. So you don't want to overpower it. You want to overpower that really kind of low energy, transparent kind of moment, but you want to make sure that you're providing that solid foundation in that breakdown. So I think that is everything. Now we're just going to go ahead and cue up the music and play along. So we're going to be out, obviously, verse 1 and the chorus. In the turn is when you're going to come out with finger picking. I do my finger picking with my actual fingers. If it's easier for you to pick that stuff, you can do that too. There's a lot of scrolling in this song for me. Just down from fiddle. And then you'll be out for this last breakdown chorus. Sorry for all the chords I missed. There's a lot of scrolling up and down, and in retrospect, I probably should have just printed this chord chart, but I don't have a printer. So anyway, that at least, even though it was a little bit sloppy, it should give you an idea of kind of where your parts sit and kind of what you're playing when. I'm realizing in verse 3, I think I told you it was an acoustic finger picking, or it sounds like an acoustic finger picking. It's not. It's like a mandolin or something, I think. I don't know. In any case, there you can do some light strumming and really just focus on like the higher strings, or you can do some finger picking there if you want. You can kind of feel that out with whatever you're comfortable with and do whatever makes sense to you. Awesome. Thanks, and let me know if you have any questions.